Welcome to another episode of Closed. Lee Bergstein here with Mike Flynn, and we are stoked for my birthday episode because we're recording this on December 18th. So I expect in the comments of this podcast all the happy birthday messages for me. We're super stoked to have with us Rod Santomassimo. He's an entrepreneur, a 5-time best-selling author, and the founder of the Massimo Group, which is the premier coaching organization for commercial real estate professionals. His career spans startups, law firms, global brokerage leadership, multiple successful ventures, and he's helped more than 4,000 independent contractors and business owners transform the way they work and live and practice real estate in New York and all over the country. So, Rod, thanks so much for being here today.
Gentlemen, great to be here. Thanks for having me.
You are welcome. So, I guess
Lee had to plug his birthday. We have to call him out on that.
the purpose of this episode is not to speak to you. It's really just more about.
Well, Lee, I gotta ask, how old are you today?
You want to guess?
38.
Oh, Rod, I love you. Let's get going. Let's end the episode right there. This was great, Rod. It was great to see you. I guess why don't we start by kind of doing 30,000-foot view. Tell us a little bit about what you do, why it's so important for real estate professionals, and how your coaching kind of translates to a more robust commercial real estate industry, which we really care about as real estate attorneys and New Yorkers. Why don't you give us the overview?
Yeah, well, we developed the Massimo Group. I developed with my wife, my partner in this. In 2008, I was, like a lot of folks, I was downsized from a corporate job. But as you shared, I've done a lot of things in my career. And during that process of both being a broker as well as running a law firm, running a telecom firm, make a patent inventor, I learned how to run businesses. And so I said, let's marry the two. Let's show brokers how to stop being a transaction person and be more of a business owner, which they all are by legally. They're all independent contractors. So why are you acting like an employee? So that seems to have resonated, and our methods have been honed in over the last 17 years now, and we've able to allow our clients to find a quicker path to much higher income. Our clients consistently out earn their peers by 7x. I just saw a post where we're sharing how we multiply all these clients' income because, gentlemen, when you get out of off that transaction treadmill and build a business, brokerage is not that hard. It just isn't.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, look, we are a small law firm. We're about 13 people. Mike and I started it together. And I think we're the phrase "the treadmill" kind of resonates with us. So, I mean, people should read your books and not listen to this podcast to kind of get all the information. But like, if there's one or two things that you could distill it down to, how do you advise brokers to get off the treadmill?
Well, first, they have to recognize their role again as a business owner, not an employee. Most brokers have an employee mindset. That's number one. And one of the books I read every year, again and again and again, is the first true business book I read years ago. The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. And he talked about Sally the pie maker, and she's working in her business and on her business, and just that idea of taking a break and getting off the transaction, building out your plans of marketing and sales and team, and allowing yourself more margin in your life to make more money in a lot less time. I think that's the key. But gentlemen, the problem is most brokers, their mindset doesn't allow it. They have limiting mindsets, well, like most people do. They can't understand what is possible, and you get out of your own head and get out of your way. Things can happen.
You and Mike will have a lot to talk about because I know I saw Mike shaking his head when you mentioned the E-Myth Revisited. I think he's mentioned that. I have not read the book in full, but Mike's probably mentioned it to me more times than I'd care to imagine.
Yeah, and Mike, I love to hear what you got out of it, but I find when I read, look, I know there are people out there who read, I'm reading a book a week, and that's awesome if that's you. That's not me, okay? I'll listen to a podcast a day, and I will, but not me. But I'll read the same books every year again and again. I didn't get that sentence. I didn't get that paragraph. Oh, that's how it works now. So the great books are just they're timeless. They really are.
I agree. I should go back and read it because it's got to be 10 years since I read it, maybe 8. It was early on when we were getting started, and I'm sure because I've reread some other business books, and I will definitely catch stuff that I missed because it seems very it seems almost so obvious that I think I've made the mistake of saying to Lee, you really should read the E Myth. How could you not have read it yet? But by the way, like I could sum it up in probably 3 sentences for you. And Nate says, "Yeah, oh yeah, that concept makes sense." But it's the little stuff, it's the anecdotes that I think some of them resonated at the time. I'm sure many more, if not all of them, will resonate now. It's good practice to reread books like this.
And then if you think about it, Hardy and Sullivan, 10X, 2X, Who Not How, Dan Martell's Buy Back Your Time, all these great business books are built off the same principle that the E-Myth was built off of. They all are. So it's like the foundation for all these great business books.
Yeah. And not to make this all about plugging different books, but I mean, one of the things that
You get royalties for every book that's sold from the podcast. So podcast is actually mostly us just listing products. We don't really talk about any issues. I don't know if you've heard an episode before, but that's really what we do.
I love it. I love it. I love the royalty game. I'll tell you a quick. I want to hear. I want to hear Mike's thought, and I'll tell you a quick royalty story. But go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, no, we've reread Traction by Gino Wickman and Rocket Fuel also by Gino Wickman a few times, and we've actually the last couple of years we've been more intentional about implementing that. And one of our other partners, we made him read it, or leadership has read it. That's another one that's more of like blueprint and actionable items. I think E-Myth is great for like overarching kind of like shatter the glass, or whatever is keeping you in that mindset. Um, and I'll let you get back to it. We won't plug too many more.
No, no. I think so. You got the right mindset. That you just have to understand. There is no cap to income in commercial real estate brokerage. There is no cap to your income. We work with brokers who make 8 figures, and people are like 8 figures. Yeah, 8 figures, right? It's just incredible. So I'm ask you, gentlemen, what do you think in the United States the average commercial real estate broker grosses, not nets, but grosses in the United States? The average income for a commercial real estate broker.
Average, U.S. average, 50 grand.
Okay, Lee.
I'd say a little bit more than that, but not much more.
Well, take home you're close. The average gross is around 131,000. So that means they're taking home 75,000, which is double the residential average, which is what it is, right? Because everyone's a residential broker. But when you have less than 100,000 brokers in the US, and we have clients in Australia and South Africa, but in the US specifically,
Or I undersold you. I said the national market.
it's okay. It's okay. We have and Canada, our friends up north, several clients up there. Most of our clients are in the US, but you think about that, you work as hard as you do, and you're bringing home. And I'm not it's not a disparaging remark. I'm just being in relation. You're bringing home 80,000 dollars. You're not doing things as you should be doing. We're commercial real estate brokerage isn't set up for that. That's not what it's for. It's to make and bring home two, three, four, $500,000 consistently every year. And for those other ones, 7 figures, 8 figures, absolutely. So if you're not there, you're not doing it right. Pure and simple.
I think the interesting thing between like reading a book like The E-Myth and what you're talking about is there's a little bit of it's almost like going to law school and reading legal textbooks and not understanding how they actually operate in practice. So and try and focusing too hard on like the weeds of the book versus taking the messaging, taking the themes, taking the mindset and applying it to your business. And then after you've kind of like cultivated the mindset and the same way that you've like cultivated legal principles with legal books, you can come back and start to like get into the weeds a little bit more and be like, oh, now that I know how to actually do this, I should use this little tidbit or this little tidbit, or this is something I didn't notice the first time before. And now that I've built a foundation, I can do more of that. I would imagine that's part of what you're doing with your coaching. Is that a fair?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, we have 3 levels of coaching. But people just starting out, we got a level for them. Mid-career who are stuck, got a level for them. That's all group coaching, both those. Our our biggest program, without a doubt, is our one-on-one coaching program. And even in that one-on-one coaching program, we don't move to the next thing until they prove to us they're implementing what we're discussing in that month or months or quarter. If they can't show and demonstrate, because look, my third book, which I think I've had the luxury and the good fortune of writing and being credited with some really good books. But my third book, which was my first and ever sales book, not real estate book, Knowing Isn't Doing, and that became the number one sales book in the country when we launched it. That was my best book by far. And the whole premise is I don't care what you know. I don't care what you know. I care what you do. But yeah, so to your point, Lee, we gotta give them little bites every week, month, quarter. Do it, and let's move on and prove you're still doing it as we move forward.
I'm curious right now for like the more novice commercial real estate brokers in major cities, including New York City. What are you hearing the most? Like, what's the challenge? What's the obstacle? And then I guess on the flip side, where are the gaps in the market that you're helping coaches kind of exploit, coaching brokers to exploit in major cities?
Yeah, look, I live by the rule that, and this is true at law as well. If you could understand that real life is greater than real estate, that's one of our biggest equations right now. Real life is greater than real estate, and in every major city, especially New York, especially New York, there's so much challenges going on, and I'm saying it nicely. There's so much challenges going on with your political landscape, or your legislative landscape. They're affecting everybody in every way. But if you can get away from, hey, here's the cap rate, here's the absorption. He said, okay, that's jargon commodity crap that every broker talks about. Talk about the real life issues. What is that the lawyer you're trying to represent to the new office space, or the investor you're trying to get out and convert their space from office to residential? What is going on in their life and their issues that you can address and show them you have a path to the next thing, whatever that is, right? Focus on real life versus real estate. That's what I would share with everyone, always, but especially now. The second thing I'd share, other thing we always constantly talk about, is you gotta understand that their situation will always be more important than your information. It's just what it is, and brokers can't figure that out, right? It's not about you and what you've done and your team. Okay, it's about me, right? So what matters most is me, to the prospect. It is. So if you can figure that out, you will be fine, and you will do very well. But most brokers just get stuck in the same commodity practice. It's what it is.
Yeah, it's about understanding client needs, understanding how to build that relationship, and then once you understand the client and their needs, then you can find the right property for them, right? Because you understand their business model, you understand what they want, you understand what's lacking. So that makes and it is very similar in law.
Yeah, yeah. So don't ask me, we're not giving a client name. So give me one situation you guys work on right now, without mentioning client name, of course. But what's one situation?
Mike's the transactional attorney, so I'll let him. I'm the litigator. Everybody's having major problems with me, but
I guess the most recent one is, client that we do leasing work for, looking to acquire a new building, wants to plug us in as they have in the past on the diligence aspect. We're not really a big enough firm to handle a huge office tower single handedly, but we have that leasing diligence expertise, and having to fit that in. And some of the challenges even just come from motivating the team to like rise to the occasion and manage their time well. Time management, once you get a pipeline going, is really really the biggest challenge, especially for lawyer. The time spent on task in most cases is the revenue. So that could be tricky. I think brokers. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but they have the ability to kind of like exponentially increase their time on task per day because it's not tied to actual hours performed. But yeah, that's I went a little off topic on that.
Yeah, but so you have a client who wants assistance on due diligence of leasing a new asset, right? Well, how does that asset fit into his overall portfolio or his goal needs or his retirement needs or whatever? So it's family issues, right? Are the kids involved? Is the spouse involved? All those things matter. They all matter. And if you can relate that, you understand that, and that you can, then they're never gonna leave you. They're never gonna leave you once they figure it out. And I'll share with you. So I'll give you an example. So you all obviously know Bob Knackle, correct?
he's been on the podcast twice.
Yeah, twice. So you know Bob, right? So When I met Bob, and my because I asked him to be my first, I didn't know who the hell Bob was when I 13 years ago, no idea. And someone said, "You really should have Bob Knackel when you in your book." I'm like, "Who's Bob?" So, so I called Bob Knackel, for those who don't know, is the GOAT of commercial real estate in the US besides New York. Sold more buildings right now, 2,381 as of this morning. Um, so think about that. It's more than one building sold per week for 41 plus years. Some context for everybody. But when I met him, he was making $6 million, and this is where most brokers and even business folks forget. So he's making $6 million. And he said, "Rod, I just want to make as much money as I'm right now and spend more time with my wife and daughter." I said, "Great, let's figure out how." So I sat in his office for 2 days, said nothing, and watched. And I'll tell you, Paul, this is 13 years ago. Boston was in its infancy. I looked at my wife and I said, "What the hell am I going to tell this guy?" You're about Necco. I can't help this guy. But then you sit back and watch, you go, wait a minute, he's not doing this, 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 and this. And why isn't he doing that and this? So one simple thing was, Bob, how many buildings have you sold? And back then it was maybe 1,500, right? So, and now we've met, Bob and I have met every week or more for 13 straight years now. So, so I said, "Bob, what do you do with all these what you call past clients?" And he's like, "Rod, I did those deals. I'm on to the next deal. Transaction treadmill, transaction junkie, right? Deal junkie. That's who Bob is." So why don't we try a different approach this time? Let's go back and call them inactive clients. They're your clients. They're never going to be anyone else's client but you. You're just not currently active. And let's change the whole way we think about these people. And let's start getting more referrals, more leads, more deals. And so we put forth this program we call the inactive client campaigns, right, to bring them back into the fray. Most business people who are deal junkies do a deal and they move to the next thing. Even attorneys, right? Did the deal, put up the tombstone. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. We got money coming out of here. So, within 2.5 years, we got to 12 plus million. And then within 3.5 years, we got over 18 million, right? Now, does the market help? Of course it helped. It wasn't just the coaching. No way, right? The market definitely helped. Going back and doing those little things and those practices that people just take for granted. Most people have been in the business for more than 5 years, even 10 years, have an exceptional bloodline in their pipeline that they're just ignoring completely. Just what it is.
Yeah, our Christmas gift baskets got delivered yesterday, so that's part of
There
our
you go.
active client outreach.
Right. Absolutely true. We did a deal 10 years ago, right? Still thinking of you. If you need us, if you know somebody, just keep on nurturing them.
Yeah, I think that's
Let me ask you, gentlemen, how long have you been in practice?
so. We both been lawyers for, gosh, 17 years.
Okay, same as me. So 17 years here at Massimo. I'm much, much older than both of you. So, so listen, I don't know about, but now Lee says he's not 38 anymore. But anyway,
For the purposes of this podcast, I'll be 38, Rod, just to make you happy, make you feel better.
so in those 17 years, have you ever read back then, kids, read in the paper, the early days, or online that one of your clients is working with somebody else? Did that ever happen to you?
Yes.
And how did it feel?
It felt like, we must not have been as good as, we thought we were for them to have gone to somebody else.
Now,
You know,
whose fault? Now, hold on. Whose fault is that?
it's definitely ours.
Yes.
Yeah. I didn't even think
It's
about it.
gut wrenching. It's just like you're getting coached by somebody else. Are you freaking? And I would say freaking because we're on a podcast. Are you freaking kidding me? It's like, what did I do wrong? Why did I drop the ball? How did we drop the ball? That should never happen. Ever, ever happen. Now, look, some clients you never want to work with again. I get that. And that's cool. You should cut crappy clients all the time. But I'm sure the clients, you guys won't admit it, but I'm sure the clients you're working with right now, you're saying, I shouldn't have taken this assignment. I'm sure there is. And you're both saying, no, not us.
Yep.
We will plead the fifth on that one.
Well, I blurred it out yet, but it I will divulge nothing else about it.
There you go. I get it. So
So
that's
I hear the seeds of the answer to this question already, but the Bob Knackles of the world, and there's no replicating Bob Knackle, but the top performing commercial brokers in the country, globally, what are like one or two things that stand out that they're doing differently than the others?
Yeah, so, we worked probably the number 2 broker, I think, in the world, definitely number 1 hospitality broker in the world out of Australia, Sam McVeigh. We work with James Nelson, the head of Everson Young's investment group as well. They're in New York and throughout the country. We work with some amazing, amazing brokers. And I would say, and we work at do the business folks too. Don't get me wrong, my company does, but they have such a different. It is commercial real estate is not what they do; it's who they are, and it's just a fact, right? They live and love the practice of brokerage, right? And when they put forth a presentation or a pitch, there's no doubt they are vastly different than everyone else on the planet. They just are. You look at one of Sam McVeigh's, he just did a $160 million deal, hotel deal, and the presentation he put together was like a cinematic movie. It was, and he showed it at one of our global conferences, and it was like everyone was floored. You know. Now the fact here's the fact, scary fact, folks. He did that 2 years ago, and it probably cost him $30,000, $40,000 to put that together. Right today, you could probably do that for less than $100. Just you can, right?
Right.
So
Using AI and
using AI, just
yeah.
using uploading images. I know ChatGPT came out yesterday with the most upgraded video and image platform right now on the market. Again, $20 a month. So the world's changed.
I did there was so much to say about you when we introduced you, but you are kind of taking the lead in utilizing AI in commercial real estate prospecting and sales. What are some of the ways that you're doing that?
Yeah, we just put out some. We've been using a platform we've been developing for the last couple of years. Actually, been developing for 2 years and used it and introduced it last year with our clients only. We call it the CRE launcher, and it is a now we put it to the public last month. It sold out in the first month, and we're going to do it again next month. So it actually automates and accelerates all marketing and prospecting in commercial real estate. I am going on the record and saying that by 2027, so most commercial real estate brokers may sign an engagement of a tenant representation or a lease, landlord representation, or offer for sale. They're asking for a minimum of 6 to probably 12 months or more so they can market that properly and protect themselves. I understand that. And then consummate the deal and earn a commission. That's the market standard. That's and I hate that word, but that's what it is, right? Um, with AI today, our clients are asking for 1 month exclusives, maybe 3 months, because they don't need all that time. And guess what? When you speed up a deal, so you gentlemen, if you could solve your client's problem in one third the time, right? Do you think you could command higher fees? Yeah, you can.
I think further than that, we could dominate in the practice area.
Yeah, yeah, because speed is everything. So we're actually now, so how we're using it is we're helping our clients command higher fees, close deals faster, win more exclusives, and it's all using AI and automations.
So
And that's
your next book is going to be about AI. It sounds like, right?
you know, I love AI. I do, and I use it every day, and I study it every day. That's one thing I have done. I've studied it every day since November 2022, because I knew I didn't want to get left behind. But I do believe by 2027, third probably a third of our clients will just be coached by AI coaches. I do believe that. And then by 2028, 30, over half our clients will be coached by AI coaches. That's just where we're going. It's just what's happening in the world today. So we just got to be prepared for that.
Yeah, but I mean, I think look, lawyers have this. Smart lawyers should have the same concern. I think there are a lot of willfully blind lawyers, or they think that AI is going to just be like another tool in the toolkit versus a viable substitution for them. And it's just about adapting so that you can use it, that you can work with it, or leverage it, or whatever you want to do to add value to your value proposition, right? So I think that's kind of how I look at it, and we're trying to kind of figure out how to best do that. It's a little more challenging in the law because um, there's ethical considerations and there's all. I actually think that it's like probably more useful on the business development and marketing side for lawyers also right now than it's being used. But I don't see it as a competitor, at least for your top clients. I think it's a way to add value.
No, our top clients will always want, and that, and we'll charge more for it. And that's the beautiful thing. AI will commoditize coaching. It will. It will. So therefore, the human element becomes a much more advantageous position to be in, and therefore you can charge more. That's just what it is, right? A better demand for that. As far as AI and we all know, we all read the cases of lawyers misusing AI to put forth a legal doc, and it's absolutely incorrect. And I do believe so. I had an issue the last week, an issue, and I had to get an attorney to write a letter to a vendor, and they said, "Well, I'll just do it in AI." And I wrote it in AI, and it looked really good. And I said, "I have no idea if this is accurate, right? No, clueless, right? So why would I send this letter? I can't. So I call my lawyer. They say if what? If you represent yourself, you have a fool for a client. If you use AI for your legal work, you have a fool for a client. You just do."
I think we're going to quote that on the website. Um, and the other interesting thing, I was having a conversation with a potential client about this yesterday because they were saying, "Well, can you just take a look at the letter that I had AI write and tell me if it's good?" And I said, "No, I'm not doing that."
I'm sure. I think you guys get overwhelmed with that request. I had AI write this for me. What do you think?
We just won't do it. And I'm sure plenty of lawyers are doing it or using AI to write their letters in full and not looking at them, and it's causing all kinds of problems, especially younger lawyers, younger than 38 or my actual age. Uh, but the one interesting thing of AI, one of the challenges, particularly like ChatGPT, I haven't used every product. It wants to please you. It's giving you advice, or it's analyzing your situation, or it's trying to help you in a way that it thinks you want to hear. So it might not be giving you objective advice or thinking things through in the way that like the client, the prospect, the adversary might need to hear it versus the way that it wants you to hear it. So what I told a potential client is yesterday, okay, like you think your position's right because you asked AI is not going to tell you that your position's wrong. It's going to support your position, and that is a real challenge, and I think an educational task for professionals who are trying to advise clients on how to use it.
Yeah, and there's no doubt. Now, look, you can prompt it and give it instructions not to do that. You actually, and you should. You absolutely should. And you just put that in the settings, and it will be more frank than than your biggest fan.
Yeah, talk to me like you're Larry David is my first prompt.
I like that one. I gotta try that. I gotta try that one. I don't know if you guys follow. Do you follow Alex Hormozy? Do you guys know who he is? He's one of the biggest business gurus right now. It's funny, he wrote a book. It was the 3rd fastest selling book in the history of the world. He launched it 2 months ago. Incredible. But, he has an AI bot, and when you talk to his AI bot, it smack you in the face. Like, I once somebody said, "Hey, wish me luck," and he wrote back, "Luck? Don't be stupid, effing stupid. You don't need luck. Do the damn work." It was like, that's the AI I need right there.
Speaking of books, before we go, I wanted to ask you. I know Selling Buildings has been out for a little while. We talked to Bob about it on the podcast back in the spring or early summer. But tell us a little bit about the process of writing that book and what you learned while you were writing it and kind of why it's an important read for those in the industry.
Yeah, I think, well, the number one reason I wrote that book, and it's the first book I ever co-authored with Bob. It was Bob's first book, so it was great for a lot of reasons. First of all, Bob and I become, we're the best of friends now, and that's just because you talk to someone 13 years in a row, 13 years every week. You just know everything about them, but you just want to do a project together besides the coach client relationship. So that was number one. We did a project together, and it was nice. Bob would have ideas, and I'd say, "Bob, we just that's never going to work. You can't do this stuff, right? It's not like let's print 25,000 books. No, let's not make that mistake." So it was just fun working with Bob. Second, it was fun going back, and Bob's a historian of everything that's going on in New York, looking back at his sources and bring those to light. And this was a different. We wanted a different perspective. This was almost a shoe dog version from a real estate side. Shoe dog going back to the Phil Knight book, but also it was also the Phil Jackson. Well, I'm the coach, so what does this tell you if you're reading this and you're not if you're a broker, this is what it means to you. And if you're an investor, Bob said this is what it means to you. So we wrote the book on both perspectives. If you're investing in commercial real estate, think about this. If you're broker in commercial estate, think about this. And we did it through the history of Bob's transactions over the 41 years. It was a great book. It's a great book. It is. It maybe but it's like all my kids. You know, we say which is my favorite book. There's ones I don't. I guess I can't say which one's my favorite. Which one's my least favorite? Yeah, I can say which one's my least favorite. But my favorite? No, I can't do my favorite.
Well, Mike, unless you have anything else, I want to be conscious of Rod's time. We could probably sit here talking about business development for the entire day, and hopefully we can have you back on and do more of that.
Let's do it, gentlemen. Let's not do it on your birthday though. Let's do it when you have more time and we can celebrate your 40th or something.
Let's do it on your birthday to see if the love is reciprocal, Rod. If Rod, if people want to learn more about your coaching services, find out more about you, obviously they can Google you and look for your books. And selling buildings is on my reading list for 2026. But where should they go? What should they do? What do you want to plug?
Yeah, just I love to talk to anyone in the commercial real estate brokerage. We have programs for every level of success, and yes, even budget today. But Massimo, Massimo group.com, Massimo-group.com is where you can find us, and we'd love to talk and help you get to that, that next level, whatever that might be for you.
Well, thank you so much. This was great. Would love to have you back on in the future, hopefully in person, and
In person.
have a great holiday season.
Happy birthday and happy holidays and Merry Christmases, and let's have a great 2026.
I'll look out for my present, Rod.
Okay, I'll be sending it.
Thank you, Rod. Take care.
For more on all things real estate and the law, subscribe to this and our other podcasts. Follow Bergstein, Flynn, Knowlton, and Polina on social media. Subscribe to our newsletter and go to bfklawoffice.com. That's bfklawoffice.com to learn more.